Okay then folks, welcome to the beautiful Cudmore Fisheries on my favourite lake in the whole wide world, Jumble Lake, for another of Andy May's crash courses. What's this one today all about then, Andrew? Well, it's all about catching silvers, where we start off, where we end up, and the baits that we're going to use to catch them. This time of year, folks, is my favouriteest ever. I just absolutely adore it. When you get into, we've had the first frost and you get into that colder weather, we're like towards the end of October now, silvers just absolutely dominate for me. I look forward to this time of year through the summer. I just absolutely can't wait for it. So what we're doing, we're going to be fishing along with pellets, with micro pellets, for a quick fix, getting a few quick bites, a few quick fish in your net. But what we're going to do is prime it quite heavily short. We're going to be putting ground bait in. We'll go through the bait later on, folks. And then not much loose feed, but big quantities of loose feed. So I want to pin the fish down. I know what you're saying, Andrew, keep the fish down. You normally want to catch them blooming shallow. Folks, there's not even a shallow rig in sight today. We've got 2 depth rigs. And speaking of rigs, let's go over to them. So we've got a pellet rig, obviously for out at 13, and I've got my maggot one for fishing shorter. Let me go through my pellet one first. Really, really simple. You've seen us fish like this loads and loads of time before. First thing then, folks, and it's an absolute massive thing for this time of year, and that's using a nice light elastic. If you went down sort of the hollow route, used to fishing for even like smaller F1s through the summer and into autumn, you're going to be bumping these fish that we're catching, because there's a massive fish that's jumped down the edge, folks, sorry. We're looking to catch, it's going to be predominantly skimmers. Now, bearing in mind, there's so many different species in here. There's 14 different species of fish in here, and we caught like 11 of them when I coached on here on Friday. So it's one of them when you focus on, you don't know what it's going to be. But with the beauty of fishing pellets and that quick fix, that quick run that you have early on, generally it's going to be skimmers or sometimes bream, but could catch tench, could catch crucians, but certainly be skimmers. You've got to be fishing the light elastic. So my number one choice for this time of year, certainly in the deeper water, is a single 6s slip elastic. If it was shallower, I'd go into a 5s, because I don't want them fish coming up in the water. You'll see what it's like when we get playing these fish. You'll see it just cushions absolutely everything. So single 6s is the one first. Next one is mainline. On both rigs, we have got 0.16 AccuPower, which Jake is going to zoom in on. He's on it. We got the nod, folks. We got the nod. Yeah, 0.16 AccuPower on absolutely everything. You don't need to change that. Coming down the rig, so we've got, I'm going to say 14 inches of line pulled up to float. Because the forecast, the wind's not going to get up today, I do like to go shorter line. When I've got deeper water, I'll go shorter line, pulled up to float. Yeah, you'll see what they're like. The bites are horrendous off these little babby fish, so it's just a case of lifting up, and if we miss it, we're dropping it back down. We're not going to give it a big one, we're not going to give it a big strike or anything like that. And you've got far much more contention with the fish with a shorter line than you have with a longer line. If it was windy, I'd have a longer line on, but as it is, nice short line. 2 number 8 back shots, and then we've got a 4x16s pellet float on there, yeah. 1.5mm bristle. We don't need to go to like F1 fine 1.2mm bristles yet. As soon as we get the first 2 or 3 frosts, then maybe you need to think about that, but you've just got to look at the colour in the water. We've got like 6 inches of visibility, so it is pretty coloured, so we can get away with a thicker bristle. So 4/16s, and it's blooming deep, it's 6.5 foot. It's a right good depth it is, folks. So hooks into the bottom of the pole there. There's 18 inches, and there's the last of my shots. If Jake is zooming in on that, we got the nod, folks. And we've got 6 number 8s, yeah? So we've got a tapered shotting pattern going on. 6 number 8s coming down here. Now you'll see here, if we get onto my hook length, you'll see there, I've got a single number 9 stot on. Now, all through the summer, I'll never ever even entertain putting shots on my hook length. When we get to this time of year, where the fish aren't as active, or certainly the fish that you're after, they're not going to be pulling back as hard, I've got no problem with putting a stot on my hook length, and it's got to be a stot because they're a lot less harsh on your line than a shot. And these hooks are, folks, oh yeah, straight out of packet, we are on a 16s SFLB to 0.11. No need to go any bigger, no need to go any smaller yet, because we're going to be fishing like obviously with 4mm pellet. Don't need to go any smaller whatsoever. That will do absolutely everything. We'll catch everything swimming on here. As I said, there's some massive carp in. Tench, crucians, brown, obviously everything, but that rig will cover absolutely everything. But it's that shot there, that telltale shot, that will make a big difference. If we're not seeing the bites as quick or we start missing bites, that might be like 2 inches away. As it is, I plumbed up, and I want to talk to you briefly about plumbing up. I plumbed up to the bottom of the body. Even though it's flat calm, you might think, why are you not plumbing to like halfway down the body? Bottom of the body, because of the silt, folks. What you've got to do when you're plumbing up is have a nice plumb around. If there's any resistance at all when you're going to lift your plummet back up off the bottom to check your depth, that tells you that the bottom's silty. Now you'll tell on here when you drop your pellet, if you drop it from like a foot, 2 foot maybe, just drop it completely so everything goes slack. You go to pick that pole up again. If there's any resistance, obviously that tells you there's a lot of silt. What will happen on here, because I know the lake so well, we'll start putting a bit of bait in, and then the fish are going to start fizzing as they come in, sort of like really churn that bottom up. And what happens then is obviously the fish can't see your bait, so that's where, you know, we need to fish around the bait. We can go through that when we're actually fishing. I'll talk you through that. So that's the rig for out there. My next one is my short line, the bagging rig, if you like. This, obviously everything's getting fast forwarded today for you folks because we are doing it in one, but match conditions, that out there, it normally lasts. I'm going to say it definitely usually lasts for an hour if there's a lot of skimmers in. Sometimes you'll get 2 hours on it, but one thing's for sure is it don't really last with you all day. So generally what I do then is when it starts to, you know, deteriorate, the peg starts to go, feed it again and then come onto the short line. But ideally you want to be giving this short line minimum of an hour. Sometimes when it's proper cold it might get, you know, halfway through the match, might get 2.5 hours. Today it's only going to get 20 minutes, and hopefully, you know, we can get some fish. I can't see him not being on it, but you know what it's like with me, folks. So the gear that you need for the short line, because it's your clunky line, it's where you're going to do most of your weight, so you want to get these fish in fairly quick so we can go fish a little bit heavier. Yeah, we're still going to get the odd smaller fish, but it's generally the bigger fish that we're after, the bigger skimmers, big heads in here as well. So we've got a single 8 slip. It is the best bagging winter elastic in the world, this, folks. It's so good. Obviously set not too tight or anything like that, so we're going to bump them. It's set nice and soft so when you wallop into them you're getting a good sort of foot or so of elastic coming out. So that's the first thing. Main lines is exactly the same again, 0.16 Aki power. 2 number 8 back shots, again same distance of line, pole tip to float, exactly the same weight to float this one, folks, but a carbon stem and F1 maggot. Does it make a difference? I'm not going to say it makes a difference whether you fish an F1 maggot or an F1 pellet with the way we're going to fish this short line. Everything's on the bottom. I'm not looking to fish through the water whatsoever. I just want to thump, get that rig down, get that bait down nice and quick. It's not as deep here, and we're on a nice hard bottom. Yeah, it's just that depth's just gradually going away from you. It's absolutely perfect, folks, what we want. So where are we now? So there's 15 inches, that marker there, and there's our bulk of shot. So we've got, again, 6 number 8s, and then we've got 2 number 9s. Yeah, so everything's within sort of 15 inches of our hook. Really, really positive. And again, so I'm not putting a shot on the hook length on this one, folks. It's just simply because it's them little skimmers, you know, that's why I put a shot on for out there. On this short line, it's bigger fish and they like that more natural fall. So I'll be doing plenty of lifting and dropping on this, you know what I mean, getting straight down to him. Another one, straight out of the packet, size 16 SFLB to 0.11. Just nice and simple, you know. Yeah, if I go down the loose feed route, I could get them up in the water, but the trouble with the depth on here is it's quite a good depth. You're never going to get them at a set depth, so I just want to pin them on the bottom, basically. Next thing I want to talk you through is baits. Now, if you've seen any of my recent posts, folks, obviously I've been doing, well, I would have fished one bloody silvers qualify, and I qualified for it, but when I've been doing my own pleasure fishing or fishing challenges against that blooming J-lad, I've got this mix, folks, and it's like, I absolutely swear by it, and that is Super Sweet and Thatcher's Green. Them two mixed 50-50 together, oh my days. Honestly, it's proper changed the way I fish. You know, I just honestly believe it makes a difference. Now, we're going to be putting the ground bait in loose today, but you know, you can make the stodge out of it, make it like a little paste, feed like little tiny balls, and the fish will attack it. It works extremely well for that. But the way we're going to feed it today, we're going to put sort of like 4 pots in with quite a bit of feed in, and just let it do its magic. You'll see it fizzing, it's really active, it proper gets the fish in. So that's the first thing, that's that mix there. So really over wet, you know, obviously as with all ground baits, make sure as soon as you get to peg you start mixing it. I really want it over wet, so you know, getting the fish right down there. We're going to put 3 in sort of like with a bit of a squeeze so it breaks up maybe halfway, and I'm going to put one in loose. just to sort of like get over a bigger area and attract them fishing. So that's what we're going to feed on the short line. With that, we've got some of the bestest magpies in the whole wide world from the bestest tackle shop in the whole wide world, Dave's and Middlets. Look at the size of them. I could only fit about 200 magpies in that tub, folks, they're that blooming big. So we've got red and white maggots. We've got my favourite casters. What you'll see me do with these is double feed it quite heavy, you know, talking sort of 40-50 casters. Remember, I'm not looking to get the fish up in the water, so I don't want to be feeding it constantly. It's going to be every, well, folks, I say every sort of 3, 4, 5 minutes. It's going to be less than that, but I'm going to aim for like 4 or 5 minutes. I'm going to be double feeding it, so a good sort of 80 to 100 casters are getting down there. That's what we're feeding. Now, micro pellets for out long, absolute must, that you must prepare these. I like to do them in the morning, again, or as soon as you get to your peg, but I like to do them at home. Slightly cover them with water and then just let me soak all that water up, and then literally feeding wise rather going to be putting anything in, because each one of them, obviously it's an individual feed, can proper get too many fish in your peg sometimes. You'll see it happen out there, it'll start to fizz, I promise you, and that's all to do with the feed. But 2 mil micros, Fin Perfect micros, and then hook bait wise, so this is how I prepare them. These are the Sonu 4 mil Pro Expanders. Put them in a little bag, soak them with water, twist the bag round so they're nice and airtight, stick them in the fridge, and they're absolutely perfect. And that's what we've got. Each one of them will sink, and I've got some in the water here. So them are the ones that I'll have just in the bag, and them are the ones that are out of the water. Yeah, so every one of them sinks, and it's just a fantastic bait. The beauty of the Pro Expander is your hook stays in and they're lovely and rubbery, so you can get like quite a few strikes until you hook into the fish. They're absolutely superb. And other than that, we need to get some fishes caught. So the first thing I'm going to do is, that's where I'm going to start off out long. So I'm going to prime that first with some micros. Now, bearing in mind, folks, this is an area where a lot of anglers get it wrong now. They're like, literally pick some micros up like that. Yeah, that'll be right for starting off. If you know that you're targeting these small skimmers, you can't start off that heavy, folks. Literally, all we're putting in is that, yeah? Tiny few micros. Now, what I do like to do, I'm not going to sneak these in. I'm going to drop them from like a foot so they go over a bit of an area. And then when I get fishing, that's when I can really zone them in. But to start with out there, I'm probably not going to feed it when I go on it, because it's going to be like 5 minutes before, you know, I start fishing it. After feeding the short line and the ground bait, hopefully there's going to be a fish or two there. So, the ship out, we're at 13 metres, just a nice comfortable distance. As always as well, I've got my little babby extension on, so I've got my markers. My joint in my pole is on my middle leg. That's my first marker. And then my marker over there, I've got like a bit of a branch coming into the water, which I'm lining up with. So you can see the pole pot's about, what, just over a foot from the surface. I'm going to twist it. Are you on that, Jakey? He's on it. I'm going to twist that round and then tap them in on the side so they go over a bit of an area. Yeah, so it might be, I don't know, maybe potentially the size of a dinner plate or something like that. I don't want to just sneak it in, I want to make sure it's over a bit of an area. Now if you come back to this bit here then, where I'm Jakey, you can see I've got this little babby extension behind me. Now what's going to happen out there when we get fishing, them skimmers are going to come in, or anything else really, any other fish, they're going to come in, scour the bottom out and make it deeper where we're fishing. So by using this half extension, I can go slightly past my feed. I'll always feed on the same spot, folks, but more often than not, I'll be fishing past where I'm feeding. It makes such a difference. So, oh, incidentally, get that in as well, Jakey. Look what pole we've got, folks. Look what pole we've got. First outing today. What's first fish on my new pole going to be? It's going to be a blooming poppadom, isn't it? It's going to be a poppadom. I want it to be an eye, but it won't be an eye on pellets. So I'm going to ship halfway till we've got that pole for our short line. I like to fish like top kitting 2 on, but holding the joint again, so I can go a little bit further, you know what I mean, down that slope if I need to. But it's just, I don't ever like to put my elbow right on the end of the pole, because it can sometimes squish the section. So always make sure you've got a bit of a section in. Right, so I'm going to get some bait on this short line now. So there's my ground bait, nothing in that. We're going to get some casters, so a good few casters going in there. You're getting all this, Jakey? Of course he is, folks. Let me know, what do you expect? So we'll get a good few casters. We need some more casters in there, don't we? Good few casters, and we're just going to put a few magpies in. Don't want to put loads of magpies in. I will be fishing magpies on the hook, but I want to make it really sort of bait rich. We're getting a lot of feeding down there, yeah? So that's what we've got. So we're going to get 3 balls, I reckon, to start off with. So I'm not going to squeeze them overly heavy, like that, yeah? Little babby squeezes. I'm going to put 3 of them in, and I'm going to put a completely loose one in. Now, because we've got a bit of a slope on it, I'm going to drop this one a little bit shorter. I've got my marker again, so my joint, when I'm fishing, is on the end of my knee, so we're about 4 inches back now, and I'm on the end of the lilies there. Now I'm going to sneak this in. I'm not going to drop these to my I'm not going to drop these to my height. Same again. Another one of them. Exactly the same. You can see how much feed content's in there. Let me show you. Put that over there. Yeah, that ball. Look at all the casters and the few maggots in there. Yes, there's a lot of feed content in there. You know what I mean? That's what we want. Because it's still not gone proper cold or anything, folks. It's still giving us some bait. Now, bearing in mind, obviously, match conditions, you'd be putting this bit in at the start and then obviously waiting. Obviously, we're fishing it a lot earlier today, a lot sooner rather, because we like to fast forward these things for you folks. And now already you can see that there's a bit of a spread on that bait. So this next one, I'm going to put in a little bit more to my left. That first one I put in is just going a bit to the right. That one is just going out to the right a bit. So this one is going a little bit to the left. Put that one in there. Yeah, so spread it out a bit. Don't have them all on top of themselves. When you're looking to put a bit of bait in, get these fish in the area. If it's big fish, folks, you don't want them all like pinned like that. You want them over a bit of an area. It does make a massive difference. And then this next one, this is the one that I want to attract the fish in. So I'm going to put it in completely loose. Yeah, so I'm not squeezing that at all. So that when that goes in, it's going to start breaking down straight away. And just get them fish over a bigger area. It's so good. Oh my days, I'm so giddy. Can't wait to see what the first fish on these new poles is going to be. Right, this one I'm going to put right in on my marker. So that's where my joint is, at the end of my knee. On the lilies there. And watch how that goes. Look at that, how it spreads out. Now over that, obviously I'm going to put some casters in as well. Even though there's loads of bait in that ground bait, I'm still going to put loads of bait in as well. Can't help myself, folks, can I? Right, so 4 or 5 minutes is past. I'm going to start off on that long line. Now put your smallest pot you've got on, folks, yeah? I'm not going to feed it because I believe that there should be a fish waiting for me on that line. So let's get an expander. If Jakey can zoom in on this as well, we'll get how we hook the expanders. Is my hand a bit shaky there, Jake? Shaky Jakey, go on shaky Jakey. My hand's shaky there. He's on it, folks. So the grain of the expander is running down that way. So we want to counteract that and come in right the way through the middle of the barrel, if you like. So hook right in the middle and then just roll it on. All too often, yes, you can see how that is there. So the hook right the way through it. All too often I see anglers just nicking the pellet. Don't do that, because one strike and it's fell off. Whereas that's going to stay on for a few strikes. Well, hopefully until we catch a fish. I'm going to strike too hard first hook, aren't I, folks? I know I'm bloody like. I'm going to give it a big one first hook, so I'm going to get too giddy. So that goes on, and then we are away. No more casts on that short line. Jakey, you've got my permission to shout at me if I feed on that short line. So let's ship out. So I'm on my marker there. Now with this, I'm going to bring my shots right over where I'm fishing, pull my float round and wait until them shots start to catch up, lift my float out, and I'm just going to drop it and then drop it from there. If them fish are watching it, they have it pretty much straight away. Come on, sink flow, there we go. Look at that. So the bite, oh, there we go, you see that? I was going to say the bites are horrendous. It just shows you how horrendous they are. So that's what I mean about starting off, getting a nice, quick, fast start on these skimmers. And this is why you need a soft elastic. First fish on my new pole, it's a poppadom. Said it was going to be a poppadom. So you can give it a bit of a strike, but it's more like a lift. So if I'd have missed that, then I could have just gone straight in and then fishing again. But this is, look at that, look at all that elastic out, a good sort of 3 foot of elastic. This is where you need a long landing at handle as well, folks. Yeah, see where them fish are, oh, I thought we had him. See where them fish are popping up out there? Ooh. They do pop up quite a distance out, so you do need a long landing at handle. So there we go, first fish on my new pole is a little poppadom. Look at them, but them, oh, look where he's hooked as well, JK. Jamie of the Howes, you are proud of that. Come on, must be, 9 out of 10. Straight in the top lip, that's where you need to be hooking them. Yeah, so a little poppadom. in the net, and we are off. And again, I'm not going to feed. Not interested in feeding again. That amount of bait, you know, over that bit of an area, we'll keep fish like that there for ages. It might be like, flipping heck, I might be able to catch 3, 4, 5 of that same stamp of fish before I need to feed it again. What you've got to do is read the peg though. So if I go in now and I wait, you saw how quick that one, that was within what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. If I wait like a minute or 90 seconds, then I know I need to feed a little bit more, so I'll come back and put some more bait in. The other thing you've got to be mindful of as well is if it's bigger fish. If that was a big poppadom like £1.5 pluser, then generally that's going to have eaten everything, so I need to feed after that. So getting on this then, Jakey, this is the most important thing now. Obviously I talk about this all the time. All that like little bit of smeg like that on the line. You on it, Jakey? We got the nod. Yeah, all that needs coming off, folks. Never ever fish with that on. So with your line under tension, just literally just use your finger and your thumb, just thumb, just to get all that off. Yeah, make sure your shots are in the same position, then we're straight back in business again. So nice and quick. Well, I'm not being quick though, folks, am I? I'm blooming waffling, aren't I? On with the 4mm. Make sure that elastic's nice. Then we're straight back out again. So right, so you'll see when I go out now, I've got fish fizzing on my bait, and this is what I mean about, you know, you've got to be really careful with how much bait you're feeding and fishing in silt. Look at it, it's right. Oh, I mean, it could be a bigger fish, could be a tench or something like that. So again, lay it in again, nice and quick. Bring your shots over. Now, what skimmers will do is watch your bait down. So that drop there, when they're having it proper, them skimmers, certainly the little babby skimmers, you see what I mean? Oh, horrendous and bites are, aren't they? But it just shows you, doesn't it? How good is this, folks? Does it make you want to fish? It just makes you want to fish, doesn't it? It's just, oh, there's nowhere like this lake. It's just amazing. But look what I mean about the difference with that soft elastic, yeah? Got to use a soft elastic. Look where they pop up. That's why you need longer landing handle as well. Yank! It's just amazing, isn't it? They're all like peas in a pod. I mean, what I could do, obviously you can see how much line I've got out there. I could unship on my number 3 section, quite easy. But again, another sort of top lipper. So that's 2 skimmers we've got in there for, I'm going to say around £1, maybe just over. Just shows you how you can do like a quick weight in a short space of time, just getting your quick fix in. And if them bites went even worse, then that's when obviously bringing that number 9 stop down even closer to your hook just sort of magnifies them bites. I mean, obviously the bites that we've had already have been horrendous, haven't they? But that's, I'm going to say that's all due to conditions. If we had a little bit of undertow on it, or it was a bit windy, the bites would be a bit more positive. I mean, as it is today, conditions are brilliant for sort of like seeing everything, but then horrendous in some respects. If it was, you know, the lake was a lot shallower, you wouldn't get away with a short line like we've got today. So again, lay it in exactly the same way every time, get to there, drop, and then we're just waiting for that little tiny dink. Or you'll get lift bites as well, folks. You will get lift bites this way of fishing. So it's just sitting a little bit higher this time. It's probably because my grease matter just worked its way down the float. That was a little dink then. Now what will make a difference as well is lifting and dropping. Oh my days, it works so well. See what I mean? Had a little dink there. Oh, whoa, bumped him. But you see what I mean? Even when we bumped him, our pellet's still on, and that's the beauty of them, the Pro Expanders, folks. Yeah, they will stay on. Now that was probably a tiny skimmer, or even a goujon. There's a lot of goujons in here. But just waited a little bit longer for a bite then. So this next time I'll probably put some bait in. Still odd fish fizzing there. You still see him, but you see where we had that bite just after that lift last time. So let it settle a bit and then just give it a little movement like that. It works so well for skim. Well, for all fish, I just love a lift and a drop. I think it makes it, oh, so you see what I mean? Like a little dinky bite, missed it, straight back in. And I've got complete confidence that that pellet's still on. Now already at this short stage, you're seeing, obviously we had them 2 straight away, and we bumped a little tiny babby one and we've missed a bite. You know, things are changing already, so I feel as though I need to feed again. But what I'll do this next time is feed on my mark where them bubbles are coming up, but I'm going to go past it. I'm going to go to the sort of like end of me pole, end of my little babby section, and then we should be into fish, because it's nice, it's clean the ground there. The fish wouldn't have come in and scoured it out, whereas now already you can see the fish coming in starting to scour it out. That float's just holding up a little bit. I think it's because of the grease. I'll wipe that grease off in a bit. I'm just going to give it a little bit more activity, a little bit more of a movement. You see this fish there, it just gives you so much confidence when you see that that fizzing. But you can't believe you haven't fed that short line again either, have you? No, maybe windmilling casters left, right and centre there. So there's a little tiny dink on that then. Even some of them bites, well, honestly, they could be on them. That's what them skimmers are like. There we go. Yeah. But look at it again, look how much elastic's coming out. Right, I'm going to feed this time. Just because we waited a little bit longer then, I'm going to feed this time. Oh, how good is this? Go on the poppadoms! Yeah, that's a nice one. It's getting on for a pound. Definitely getting on for a pound. So shallower venues, that's where you need like a 5s elastic. Yeah, if they pop up too quick. But look at them. That's definitely getting on for a pound, that, folks. Look at that. They're just... Jakey's so jealous for you, folks, I'm telling you. He's giving me right... Oh, he's 10 out of 10 as well. Right 10 out of 10 he is. He's proper eyeballing me. He's like, Andrew, get off that box. But no, what I'm going to do, I want to go on that short line, because obviously out there, all you've got to bear in mind is just keep in touch with everything, yeah? If you're not getting bites or you're not seeing bites, then move that number 9 stock closer to your hook, or it'll be something to do with your feeding. Stick plummet back on. I guarantee if you're getting it fizzing, them skimmers would have 100% scoured that bottom out. So you just need to either move away from it, from where you've been fishing, or obviously just put some depth on. But as it is, we're going to put another bit more bait in, and we'll see what happens after feeding again. I mean, this will either go one way or the other. But I generally, if I was in a match now, I would 100% fed after that fish that I just had there. Even though you can still see him fizzing, because it was a bigger fish. We've had 3 not bad stamp fish. 100% that bait would have near enough gone. But topping up wise, that's all we're doing. Yeah? Hardly anything. You know what I mean? Not even sort of maybe quarter filling a pot like that. You on it, Jakey? Yeah, that's all we're putting in. So, put that in there. Squeeze it down a little bit. Go on the carps. That sounded large. And then have another ship out. Now I am going to loose feed this time, the caster line, folks. Just because I've got to. So I've got my marker there. Just going a little bit more to the right of it. Yeah, 2 lots of casters. And we'll see what happens this time after we feed it. Now that pot is probably 3 or 4 inches back on my pole. So what I'm going to do, stretch out 3 or 4 inches. And I'm not going to sprinkle them in now. Because the fish are already there, I'm not going to sprinkle them in. I'm going to sneak them in just so they're going in the exact same spot. And now I'm going to go past where I fed. So I've gone to like the end of me section now, if you like, folks. My little babby extension. So we're a little bit further past where we fed, where the ground will be a lot clearer. Is that on the drop? Oof, there's one on the drop there. Now they were on the drop, or it was over a back then. We saw how high that float was. There we go. There's one on that one. Yeah, there's one on that one. It's ridiculous, isn't it? So that took it on the drop then. Little babby fish. So these usually what you start off catching, these little babby skimmers. Don't swing skimmers, Andrew. Swung a skimmer. Don't swing skimmers. Yeah, he's been on for a bit in. He's been on for a bit in. But it looks as though now, obviously, the bigger fish are coming straight into the bait, and the little babby ones are just backing off. Right. We'll fast forward then, folks. I can't. It's one of them. Obviously, out there, you just stay with that until it died up. I'm gonna have one more go, going past it. But if it was like this in a match, you wouldn't come off that. As I said, that short line, you need to give it, I'm going to say a minimum of an hour, but usually it might be like halfway through the match, because generally you can have a real good run on these skimmers out here. And go full distance again on the pole. You don't come off fish like this, folks. Here we go then. So, I mean, look at them fizzing already, just off that last feed that I've put in. So now you can see, obviously, my float is past. We're past where they're fizzing. And the reason my float's sticking out a little bit higher is just because they've not scoured it out, scoured the bottom out there, so it's not going to sit as low, because we're quite a bit over depth, remember. Might take them a little bit longer to find it, but well, I don't know. There is one, there's a little bite then. So it just dipped a little bit. So with how conditions are now, I'd probably put another shot on that float just to dot it down even more. The trouble with that is the blooming wing gets up and then it goes, and you can't see your blooming float, but it's sitting all right now. But don't forget about the movements for skimmers. It's so important, them little babby. And we haven't really had a chance to yet because we're getting bites fairly quick, but usually them little movements, certainly for, see what I mean, there's a little dink then, them little skimmers, they're on it straight away. It's a fabulous way of fishing, it really is. And you know, on the coldest of cold days, even when there's ice on you, these little babby skimmers, you just catch them all the time. Even like, oh, that was a quick, that could have been a line of that. Even like winter tench and obviously crucian, anything like that. Everything's swimming pretty much is going to eat pellets, but predominantly, certainly with that little, see that was a lift bite then. I'm just going to check that me, yeah, so you see what I mean? We've had like, what, 3 or 4 strikes and that pellet's still on. That's a beauty of them Pro Expanders. Really good. So now I've gone to the back of my feed, obviously, more signs, but I said there were smaller fish, that's why we're missing them. We had that fast liner before. Should get one this time now. Oh, that was a little dink then. No. It's mad, isn't it? Just shows you how quickly you can potentially ruin things or by, you know, feeding at the wrong point. You know, maybe I could have done with catching another fish off that initial feed and then fed it, but no, we need to feed, don't we, folks? So that is going to be my last fish. What's that? That's not, yeah, it's a skimmer. That's going to be the last fish on that line. As I said, the main thing to bear in mind is keep in touch with them. If something's not happening or it's going weird, it's either you're feeding too much or you've simply just scoured the bottom out. That's usually what happens, but how can you not be happy with starting off a session like that? Look at them poppadoms, another one. Look where he's hooked again. They're just amazing, aren't they? Proper weight builders. How good is this, folks? Right, okay, so now match conditions, no, never ever come off them. You would like never ever come off them, but be careful with the feeding. Yeah, just make sure you're keeping in touch with them with the feeding. If it starts going a bit pongy, then generally it's because the fish has scoured the bottom out, or you're starting to feed too much, or ground bait. See, ground bait's great, like something like a Super Crush Expander, but when they want to eat, it can send them a bit daft. Super Crush Expander comes into its own when it's proper cold and desperate, no food content, but it sort of grabs their attention because they can scent that there's something there. But that can cause you trouble out there, that ground bait, because it just gets too many fish in your peg. That's why we're fishing the ground bait, shorter line on the harder bottom. Here we go then, folks. I honestly believe this is going to be too early yet. Whether we get a bite or not, I don't know. Hopefully we will do, but it could be little babby fish. Now bear in mind, obviously, the way we fed this, we want to be catching big fish. But I'm pretty convinced it's going to be too early, but we're going to give it a go. So, bait wise, nice and positive, folks. No need for like single maggot, side up maggot or anything like that for now. Nice and positive. Double maggot or even double caster, or you know, bit of worm maybe if you had some worm even for now this time of year. Yeah, just go nice and positive. Now laying it in again, I'm not gonna, obviously the ledge is going out away from me, but I'm not really interested in that. I just literally just want to bring my shots round and flop my float over it. Now I'm not going to feed to start with, I'm going to see what's over that ground bait. Might get like, well, we're not might, we're going to get some small fish. We're going to get some small fish first, and then hopefully we're going to get some bigger skimmers or hopefully some hide. But I'd imagine it'd be gudgeon and perch or roach or something first. So all I'm doing is literally, obviously we've fed, what we fed? Give it 4 lots of casters, but I'm fishing over that ground bait that we put in basically. If there was tow there, I'd let it go through. There's no tow there. So little fish to start off with, and that's what we like, and that's what we get. Roaches, and they're not little fish, these roaches actually, they're a good stamp. Look at these folks, look at them, look at them. Have you ever fished a lake like, look at the state of them folks. They've literally never seen an hook before. Absolutely. Oh, fin pit. Oh. I love fishing, me. It's so good. Right, come on, let's catch something a bit bigger. But even them, I'd be so happy with them. Now that's the thing, like when you swap to your short line, it's still like getting the odd bite out there, and you swap to your short line, it's like you've got to sort of judge what's going to be quicker. You know, the skimmers are a little bit bigger out there, but here, if we can get roach like that quicker, then obviously over the long run, it's going to increase my weight a little bit. So again, I'm not going to feed. I'm just going to use the ground bait. I really want to feed, but I'm not going to. Yeah, there we go. That's something a bit bigger. That might be far looked actually. That. Ooh, yeah, he's far looked, so we're not bothered about him. That was a skimmer, something far looked then, folks. Definitely, you can see the slime there. That's what's going to happen, you know, because they're not settled. We've gone on a bit early. See the little bit of slime on there? Yeah, far looked him. Could tell that was far looked as soon as you looked him. So that was a far look, but it was a bigger skimmer. And that's all because we've just gone on it too early. We change that maggot. If we'd have settled, then obviously he's gone on to it, give it another hour, then we'd have had him. Still think we're going to get one now. Right, come on, this time. Do I feed? I've got to feed, folks. I've got to put some casters in. So when you're putting casters in, 2 lots. Yeah, 2 lots are sort of like 40 or 50 or something like that. Get some bait in. Now I'm fully expecting to get the odd liner through the water now. That's why I don't want to be feeding all the time, because obviously roach, with it still being a little bit mild, they will come off bottom. But you can see we've got 2 swims on the go. Look at that. Oh, what's that? That's a rudd. That's a roach rudd hybrid, folks. Go on the roach rudd hybrid and get in on that. I don't know. I'll show you. You can tell it's a roach rudd hybrid with its fins. Yeah, upturned mouth. Go on the hybrids. Jakey's on it. But look at him again. Not been caught before. Absolutely stunning. Oh, I could stay here all day, folks. Me, it's just so good. Right, I'm not going to feed again now until we catch a bigger one. I'm not. But obviously, again, you can see the beauty of that, like heavier elastic as well. The 8 slip. That's why I love it for like this kind of, you know, the wallopy line where you're going to do some damage and get some fish. That's why you need a slightly heavier elastic. Something taking that on a drop? No. And also, you can see I'm laying the rig in there. Yeah, there we go. Got far looked? Nope, bigger skimmer. Oh, please be an id. Oh, it might be an id. If it's an id, we're ending on it. It might end on it anyway, actually. Oh, look at them. Right, these are the bonus fish then, folks, that I was on about. So that would have been the exact same fish that fell off before, far looked. But that is why you have the wallopy line, yeah? Them, when you go on them, after you've primed it and left them alone for an hour, that in there is why you have that short line, folks. And that, I don't think it gets any better than that. We've done some like proper crash courses in our time, folks, and they've gone to plan. This is one of them where it's like proper gone to plan. So, out long to start off with. Look for the signs, what's happening with the fish. If you're getting pongy bites, or you're far looking them, or you're not getting bites, but there's fish in there, the fish have scoured the bottom out. So go plummet again. Feed on your marker, fish past it. That is the biggest thing for me that over the last few years is fishing past my bait, certainly for skimmers. So that's what to look for out there. As soon as it starts to die, because it does, skimmers, that it'll always sort of like die, that's when you come into your short line, yeah? But just be careful with that feed. Certainly when there's fish like roach, hybrids, eyed, things like that in, they do want to come off the bottom, but there can be a pain at times in that depth of water to sort of like pin at any depth. So that's why it's good to sort of feed it heavy and not loose feed all the time, you know what I mean? Just sort of like 2 lots of that 40 or 50, just to pin them down, that kind of thing. But generally when you come off that short line, you'll have a right good run, and then you've got to sort of rest it and go back out again. But coming into like the last hour, certainly when that temperature starts to drop and the light starts to go, the fish start coming in, it's just amazing, folks. You can have some right days on it. You can come from nowhere to like lining skimmers up like that, you know, £1.25, £1.50 skimmers, getting them 1 a chuck, and that's it. It just sends you right up there in your matches. So folks, I hope you've enjoyed that as much as I have. That has been amazing. I'm going to carry on until like tomorrow. I absolutely adore this style of fishing. I love silvers fishing. But as always, folks, if you've liked what you've seen, please, please, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and that will tell you when we are putting these fantastic videos out. Yeah!